to make. Wise Buys, weeknights only on News Center 6 at 6.
Here in London, Britain mourns a fallen princess. A judge in Paris orders a formal investigation of photographers at the crash scene for involuntary homicide. And a new element to the tide of British public grief, anger and resentment toward the Queen, and plans for Saturday's funeral. There's growing public talk about the royal family's stony official silence on the death of a princess. And also tonight, the Spencers, the other family in the spotlight, Diana's.
This is the CBS Evening News with Dan Rather reporting tonight from London.
Good evening from London. The lines here in the British capital have been endless. Mourners by the thousands waited for up to 8 hours today to sign a book of condolence at St. James Palace, where the body of Princess Diana will lie until her funeral. More about that in a moment. But first, developments today in the investigation of the car crash in Paris that killed the princess. It now appears the driver may have had even more alcohol in his system than the police have said. And a judge has ordered a formal investigation of the role photographers may have played in the tragedy. CBS News correspondent Vicki Mabry is on the case in Paris. Vicki?
Dan, tonight all 7 of those photographers are one step closer to being charged with involuntary manslaughter and failure to assist the victims. They are tonight formally under investigation. They may be officially charged later. But after spending 2 days in jail, tonight they are free. At the courthouse today, a judge ordered an investigation into what role the paparazzi may have played in causing the fatal crash. 2 photographers are barred from working as journalists while the case is pending. Attorneys say their clients are being made scapegoats.
We do have a very special accident. We do have a very special person in this accident, and we can very simply think that it will never take place with this kind of charges if this accident took place for anybody else. That's what I can say.
You think this is, one attorney described it as a witch hunt?
Exactly. That's a good definition.
But some witnesses say the paparazzi swarmed the black Mercedes as it entered this tunnel just before the accident. Another report claims that as the princess's car sped through the tunnel, the chauffeur changed lanes to pass a slower-moving vehicle. In the process, hitting a concrete center pillar, flipping across 2 lanes, and slamming into the opposite wall. But the main target of the probe remains the driver, Henri Paul. He was a security officer at the Ritz Hotel, allegedly called in from home by Dodi Al-Fayed to drive the couple that night. These are the last pictures taken of the pair, capturing them after their dinner at the Ritz as they left on the ride that claimed their lives. Photographers say that shortly before the car set off, the driver taunted them, saying, "You won't catch us tonight." A new report tonight says that Paul's blood alcohol level may have been 4 times the French legal limit, not 3 times, as was reported last night. On another note, another photographer who was not apprehended by police told German TV that the princess's car was going so fast when it reached the tunnel that photographers were left the equivalent of 2 football fields behind. So even if the driver was drunk, even if the paparazzi were left too far behind, Dan, this still is a tragedy that cries out for some sort of blame and some sort of justice. It may be that the French legal system feels it just cannot let the photographers go scot-free.
Thanks, Vicki. Word tonight that First Lady Hillary Rodham Clinton will attend Saturday's funeral for Princess Diana here in London out of, quote, deep respect for her humanitarian work. White House officials also explained that President Clinton will not attend and there will not be an official U.S. state delegation because, quote, this is not an official state funeral. Queen Elizabeth will attend the Saturday services, but the fact that she stopped short of a state funeral for Princess Diana has become a sore point with Britons here and the focus of growing public anger. This as the public flow of flowers and tears only seemed to grow deeper and stronger in the hearts and streets of this nation. CBS's Tom Fenton is at Buckingham Palace and begins CBS coverage of the public's grief and anger at the Queen. Tom?
Dan, new developments tonight in this incredible week. Strong rumors that have been circulating here for the past few days appear to be confirmed in this London-based Arabic newspaper. It quotes a relative of the Al Fayed family as saying that Dodi Al Fayed told him Saturday night in Paris that he and Princess Diana had decided to get married. Now, how the public will react to this news is anybody's guess, but public opinion is now driving events here. Prompted by overwhelming public sympathy for the princess they only recently stripped of her status as a royal, Buckingham Palace announced the creation of an official Diana, Princess of Wales Memorial Fund. It will take the flood of public donations expected in the coming months and direct them to the princess's charities. Again, in response to public pressure, the palace has scrapped protocol and announced that 500 workers from Diana's favorite charities will march behind her coffin on Saturday. And after the funeral service, the nation will come to a halt for a minute of silence. When the royal family returns to Buckingham Palace later this week, attention will refocus on Prince Charles, last seen Sunday evening, bringing his former wife's body back to England. The thought in so many minds and on so many lips today, can Charles ever go on to become the king of a nation which will always hold him partly responsible for what happened to Diana? Television has already begun to highlight the issue of guilt.
I'm going to use a word very carefully now, Gladys, and that's a word, guilt. Anyone who loses someone, irrespective of the circumstances, must look back on what happened in the past and say, if only.
Everybody that has been, who's part of Diana's family, let's say, or ex-family, is going to feel some guilt.
The Prince of Wales's biographer, Jonathan Dimbleby, has no doubts about the burden that Charles is carrying.
Well, I can feel pretty certain what he's feeling at the moment, which is bound to be continued shock, a horror at what has happened, combined with a sense of responsibility in the middle of that pain.
Other opinion leaders here also believe Charles is under a tremendous strain.
I think it's a terrible, agonizing time for him. I think he never really understood, you know, why the marriage went wrong. He was always saying, why? This week he must have felt the most terrible guilt. He must know that the general run of the people now really are not on his side. They think he behaved badly.
It's widely believed here that the last chance for Charles to save his reputation, and perhaps the monarchy, is for him to begin giving to William and Harry the sort of affection they got from their mother. Some people even think that Prince Charles may never become king and that the succession will pass directly to his eldest son, William, who would benefit from the public adoration of his late mother. Dan?
Thanks, Tom. It's more than just the lack of a state funeral that is fueling public resentment here toward the Queen and to some degree toward Prince Charles. As CBS's Richard Threlkeld reports, to many mourning the princess, it's just the latest in a series of snubs over the last year of her life and now in death.
Buckingham Palace, home of the British royal family, has become a mecca for Britain's grief. But there's no one to acknowledge it. No flag flies at half-staff here in Diana's memory as in the rest of Britain, because no one's home at Buckingham Palace. Queen Elizabeth and family are on summer holiday in Scotland. The Queen went to church on Sunday, but has not spoken in public of the tragedy. Sure, she's the Queen, but many British wonder, can't she say something after the death of the mother of her grandsons, even if Diana was effectively exiled from the family after last year's divorce? The Queen's defenders say her silence is right and proper.
I think the great qualities people want from the royal family are dignity. I think they want duty. I think they want decorum.
Well, perhaps Sir Charles, but most of the British people we talked to wanted something more.
I think it's disgusting that they're not here to see how the British people feel about the monarchy.
I think she'd make the British people happy if she did say something.
Let them see what the people think of her. They should be on that balcony now.
The establishment don't seem to just get it right. They just don't get it right.
Diana got it right, of course, which is why the people loved her so. She got so much out of life and did it so obviously. She'd learned to dance with her nation, something the rest of the royals never learned or couldn't.
It's the whole sense that duty is what matters, that public appearances have to be dignified before anything else. And it's that kind of attitude to royalty that, of course, Diana was completely opposed to and which she did so much to change.
So the danger is the gulf between the Queen's royal stiff upper lip and the public grief of so many of her subjects call it the misery gap, will further estrange the royal family from the British people, many of whom already have their doubts about the monarchy. Richard Threlkeld, CBS News, London.
Note that CBS News will broadcast the funeral live early Saturday morning, and on Saturday evening, CBS will have a 1-hour special report, Farewell to a Princess. That'll be at 8/7 in the Central Time Zone Saturday night. Still to come on tonight's broadcast, much more from here in England, plus a record day on Wall Street as stocks bounce back, a fatal era by bounty hunters in Arizona, a break in the biggest armored car heist in U.S. history, and right up next, we will take you to the place that's showing signs of becoming England's Graceland as the CBS Evening News continues from London.
When you read the labels of fiber therapies, you'll see Citracel is different. Metamucil contains psyllium, which can initially produce excess gas. Citracel doesn't. No psyllium, no gas. Citracel. Effective relief without the gas.
It feels strong and dependable, yet refreshing. Fix-It & Fresh. A stronger, longer hold, combined with a cool, crisp sensation. Fix-It & Fresh, and forget it.
Last month, Publishers Clearinghouse surprised one winner.
You have won $1 million from Publishers Clearinghouse.
I can't believe it.
This is the truth.
No, go away.
Now they'll surprise 30 winners. Starting September 24th, the Prize Patrol will wake up a new winner every morning for a month.
Get my shoe.
That's 30 winners in 30 days. You could wake up to thousands, even millions of dollars.
Yeah, I think I'm going to faint.
Enter the Publishers Clearinghouse sweepstakes today, and you could wake up a winner.
You know what I care about even more than what my doctor says? What he does. How does he take care of his own headaches? What medicine does he use? That's what I want to know, not what leading medical research indicates. When my doctor has a headache, you know what he takes? Excedrin. The aspirin-free kind of Excedrin. So I tried it on my own headaches. And you know what? He's a pretty good doctor.
Aspirin-free Excedrin, the headache medicine.
While so much attention has been focused on the British royal family, there is another family story unfolding, the Spencer family. Diana will be buried where she grew up and where her roots were, north of London, at the Spencer Ancestral Family Estate. It's a good story, and CBS News correspondent Mark Phillips is there with it.
She may have been the people's princess, but Diana was no Cinderella, no commoner drawn into the royal household and its royal intrigues. Her family's estate in rural England has become another sight to which those mourning her have flocked. In fact, there's real concern here that this may be the beginning of a kind of aristocratic British Graceland. Instead of Elvis enthusiasts, Diana devotees.
Definitely going to be like a Graceland, another Graceland, isn't it?
Yeah. I hope it's a bit more genuine than that.
Then Graceland.
Yeah.
If anything, Lady Diana Frances Spencer, as she then was more of a royal blue blood than the prince she would marry.
This commoner, this woman of the people, well, yes, there is, providing you go back 500 years.
500 years ago, the Spencers were perhaps the richest family in England, owning vast tracts of Northamptonshire about 100 miles north of London. Even today, they still own a huge estate and about 90% of the land as far as the eye can see around it. The family can trace its lineage back to King Charles II, who ruled in the 1600s. But in a poignant irony, Diana, now viewed as the victim of her husband's infidelity with Camilla Parker Bowles, can trace her line back not to King Charles' legitimate wife, but to his mistresses.
Diana descends 3 times from a king who is called Charles II, and she descends 3 times from 3 separate royal mistresses. The idea that Charles is the first king to have had an illegitimate relationship is so preposterous.
Diana's final resting place will be among her ancient ancestors in the family chapel. Diana is not the first Spencer famous for wearing the fashion of her times. For almost 5 centuries, this has been the Spencer family's seat, just another huge estate owned by one of Britain's wealthy aristocratic families. But now its fame is about to go international as a shrine to Diana, a victim of 20th century celebrity. The outpouring of sentiment for Diana has been intense and sincere. If it endures, Diana may have changed the life of one small English village even more than she has the rest of the country. Mark Phillips, CBS News, Great Brington, England.
I'm 64. Is there anything I can do to stop bone loss?
Absolutely. Here's proof. In a landmark clinical study, Caltrate actually stopped bone loss in women at risk for osteoporosis, whatever your age.
It's never too late for Caltrate. There's encouraging nutrition news about heart disease. The B vitamin folic acid may help reduce homocysteine levels in the blood, an emerging risk factor for heart disease. And Centrum Silver has folic acid.
Centrum Silver. It's a great time to be silver.
17 stitches. Can you believe it?
Yeah, I saw the 2x4 that hit you. You must be hurting.
Not anymore. Doctor gave me Tylenol, extra strength.
Looked like a lot of pain.
Don't remind me. Let's go.
Tylenol, the pain reliever hospitals use most.
Ice cream for everyone!
Oh, none for me. Why? Dairy foods do a number on my stomach. Try this.
Lactate Ultra. One little caplet just before eating lets you digest dairy foods easily and naturally. Lactate Ultra. Go on, enjoy dairy again.
Making plenty of high-fiber fruits, vegetables, and grains like wheat bran cereal a regular part of your low-fat diet may help reduce your risk of some kinds of cancer.
Yeah, I saw that.
You already read this? Did not.
Yes, I did.
You did not.
Yes, I did.
When painful gas makes me feel like this, I take a little pill that looks like this.
Gas X Soft Gels. As much gas medicine as this much Mylanta. Concentrated for fast relief. Try extra strength Gas X Soft Gels.
A tragic case of mistaken identity leaves 2 people dead. When bounty hunters allegedly act like the criminals they're chasing, is anyone safe? Coming up, that's it.
In news beyond London tonight, in the USA, after more good news about inflation, the Dow Industrials rang up their biggest point gain ever, 257 points. That means Dow stocks zipped up 3.5% in value. The NASDAQ index gained 30 points. The fatal shooting of 2 innocent people in Phoenix, Arizona, has turned a spotlight on the shadowy world of freelance law enforcers known as bounty hunters. It's a strange and unsettling story told tonight by CBS News correspondent Jerry Bowen.
Riddled with gunshot wounds and wheelchair-bound, Michael Sanders today had all the appearances of a crime victim as he was brought into court.
I'm going to record a bond in the amount of $1 million.
But according to Phoenix police, Sanders, along with Matthew Brackney, Brackney's father, and 2 other men still being sought on second-degree murder charges, were bounty hunters, dressed in black and body armor, who broke into the wrong house early Sunday searching for a bail jumper.
And that is where a firefight between both parties erupt. When it's all done and over, Chris and his girlfriend are dead.
Chris Foote and his girlfriend, Spring Wright, were killed, but not before Foote wounded 2 of the intruders.
She had been 21 years old this week, and they were supposed to be married when she turned 21. They were waiting till she turned 21.
It's not right for guys to come in your house in a ski mask, and if you're a bounty hunter, without the police even knowing or nothing, it's outrage. It's unreal. And then be the wrong house.
But in Arizona, it's legal. Bounty hunters have the legal right to use guns and break down doors. No warrants or court orders necessary. No license or background checks required either to get into the bounty hunter business.
Unless you begin to change this industry, unless you create more regulations, it is going to occur again.
Other bounty hunters also say it's time for a change.
We don't need fugitives out chasing fugitives.
It was total overkill on their part, and I don't mean to use that word lightly.
And it could have been worse. Also in the house Sunday morning, a woman and her 3 young children who the bounty hunters held at gunpoint and then abandoned when their perfectly legal raid went very wrong. Jerry Bowen, CBS News, Los Angeles.
Stay with CBS now for an update on the biggest armored car robbery in U.S. history, and from here in England, a different look at the throngs of people who are coming to pay tribute to their princess.
When you have heartburn and pain, these won't give you complete relief. Problems this bad need Alka-Seltzer, the only one with effervescent power to speed relief, plus the medicines to relieve all your symptoms. Alka-Seltzer, the 100% solution.
Dad took Tylenol for back pain. Hours later, needed more.
Doc said 2 Aleve are so strong, I can go all day. I was up to 4 Advil or 8 extra-strength Tylenol.
He tries Aleve. My old man's a new man.
Aleve.
Nobody can resist giving a hint to Heloise, so once I started talking about natural organic Alberto VO5 hair dressing, I got letters. You know VO5 keeps hair shiny and manageable, but it also works wonders on rough, dry hands. The natural conditioners protect leather shoes and bags. And it even gives your pet's coat a healthy shine. Hey, maybe they should call it Alberto VO 105.
VO5 hairdressing, natural hair care, and so much more.
So, this is where you made that famous 80-yard run, huh?
I guess I told you about that one.
Yeah, once or twice. Hey, come on. You're still in great shape. You stay healthy.
Oh, Coach, good nutrition helps me stay healthy.
As an occasional meal or snack, Ensure is a source of complete balanced nutrition to help you stay healthy, active, energetic.
So, can you run 80 yards like you used to?
Maybe better.
Ensure, the #1 doctor-recommended supplement. Drink to your health.
If the sky that we look upon should tumble and fall, or the mountain should crumble to the sea, I won't cry, no, I won't shed a tear, just as long as you stand.
Peace of mind
Stand
from Buick LeSabre.
They're armed, dangerous, and ready to fight.
There's going to be death.
Inside the Birth of a Militia, an all-new 48 Hours, Wednesday.
Back again now from London in more news from home tonight. New developments in what's being called the biggest robbery in the history of the world. The alleged thief was in a Texas court today, but where's the loot? CBS News correspondent Jim Stewart, who first broke the story, brings you up to date on the investigation.
He's added some curl to his hair with a permanent, grown a beard, and even dropped a few pounds. But the FBI says this is their man, all right, Philip Noel Johnson, holder of the world's record for robberies at $22 million. And he's still not saying where the money is. After a brief appearance today in Brownsville, Texas, Johnson was ordered back into court Thursday for an identification hearing, but his lawyer conceded that's mostly a formality.
No, it's not a delaying tactic. There's no benefit to delaying the matter if they have the right man. It's simply a question of making them follow the proper procedure.
Johnson was nabbed at this Brownsville border crossing over the weekend after U.S. Customs Inspector Virginia Rodriguez pulled him aside for questioning.
He was cooperative up until the point where they kept finding money in his bags. At one point, he said, I don't want to talk to you guys anymore.
Investigators found more than $10,000 stuffed in Johnson's clothing, part of the $22 million they believe he took from this Wells Fargo office last March in Jacksonville, Florida. A 10-year employee at the company, evidence found at Johnson's home suggested he'd planned the robbery for years. Investigators say Johnson first headed north to Asheville, North Carolina, where he abandoned a company van and caught a bus to Houston, Texas. From there, he drifted south to Laredo and Brownsville, alternately crossing over to Mexico. Agents say he had been careful to take only large bills, wrapped much as this armored car shipment is in heavy plastic bundles. So where's the money? The FBI concedes they still don't know, but one theory is that he buried it, all 1,000 pounds of it, on a road somewhere between North and South Carolina. But that's just a theory because Johnson still isn't talking, and he wasn't carrying any maps. Jim Stewart, CBS News, Washington.
In Washington, the U.S. government announced the recall of 125,000 infant swings made by Century Products of Ohio. 3 babies died and a 4th almost strangled, apparently when their necks were caught in the swing's harness straps. The company is offering a free repair kit to fix the problem. In Moscow, Russian space officials put the blame today on the 2 cosmonauts who were on duty aboard space station Mir when it collided with a cargo ship in June. And they said the 2 cosmonauts may be docked in their paychecks. The findings and fines could be appealed. Straight ahead from London, who are the people in the throngs of mourners, and what are their messages for their princess?
One-minute Maalox.
The other night, I woke up at about 1 a.m. with heartburn. Bad. So I tried this new Mylanta AR. I should have taken Maalox.
1-minute Maalox. You'll feel it cooling, coating right away. And clinical studies prove Maalox starts to work on stomach acid in about 1 minute, while Mylanta AR could take over 45 minutes.
In the middle of the night, I can't wait that long. I need something I know starts to work fast. I'll stick with 1-minute Maalox.
For heartburn or acid indigestion, count on 1-minute Maalox.
After his heart attack, Ed's doctor told him to exercise and take aspirin regularly. So he takes genuine Bayer aspirin to help prevent a second heart attack. But then there are those days when Ed's muscles ache and Ed could use extra strength Bayer. Nothing is stronger for pain. If you're on an aspirin regimen, you don't need Tylenol because doctors say you can take more aspirin for pain.
How are your legs?
Great. Race you home. Bayer, powerful pain relief and so much more.
America, land of opportunity, where people have rights. The right to cereal any way you want it. We salute those who look to Kellogg's Corn Flakes and see a land of milk and honey. Or milk and strawberries. To you who taste a mountain of possibilities, in this humble flake we say, let freedom pour.
What's up at Kellogg? McDonald's. Look for a McDonald's Deluxe Sandwich coupon on these specially marked boxes.
Is vaginal dryness a problem? Now there's Vagisil Intimate Moisturizer. It's like bringing back your own natural moisture. Just a few clear drops replace your body's moisture. Smooth as liquid silk, never greasy. Vagisil Intimate Moisturizer.
Fibercon or Metamucil? Both have fiber for regularity. But I like Fibercon better.
Same natural action of fiber, but only Fibercon contains calcium.
And with Fibercon, I get my fiber in 2 caplets.
Fibercon, fiber and calcium in a convenient caplet.
As we leave you tonight from London, we were struck and want to share with you the tremendous outpouring of emotion for Princess Diana. Hundreds of thousands of people have turned out, stunned by her death and stunned by their own reactions about how much they cared and how much the royal family doesn't seem to care. They put it in writing, they say it with flowers, and most often, they say it with an awesome, massive silence. In places associated with the princess, there is a sea of flowers. Millions of bunches. People have thronged to the royal palaces with their tributes. Standing in line for hours, patiently, waiting to place their offerings. Coming here literally from all walks of life. And children. So many children. Sometimes dressed up for the occasion. Trying to tell the princess, who was first a mother, how they felt about her.
I'm sorry you are dead, and I wish you could be alive again. Love from Jack.
From London, a child's reminder to us all that life isn't always fair, even for a princess who was the fairest of them all. Tomorrow evening, I'll be here in London for a special extra edition of 48 Hours, The People's Princess. That'll be at 9 tomorrow night, 8 in the Central Time Zone. For now, Dan Rather, CBS News, reporting from London. Good night.